Hey guys, it's Alex, and today I'm here with the Finish the Book tag. I couldn't find an original video for this, but I do believe it was created by someone called Headless Books, and either they no longer have the video or they no longer have a channel. I also wasn't tagged by anyone, but I will leave all the questions and information down below in case you're interested. The first question is, do you keep a list of the books you've read? And I do in several places. I have two spreadsheets on Google Spreadsheets that I use to keep track of various stats and things like that. And I also upload all the books that I read to Goodreads. But the main place where I keep track of my books and what I've read is this journal that I have been keeping since literally 2010. This is what my handwriting looked like in 2010. At some point, I might do a flip through, but it's a very basic journal, so there's really not that much to look at, and it's not super aesthetically pleasing. Question 2 is, if you record stats, what stats do you record? I record a variety. Like I said, I have two spreadsheets that have kind of different stats. I downloaded them from various places, but I would kind of like to create my own spreadsheet that tracks specifically what I want it to track, because I do find that these have a lot of stuff that I don't care about, and they're kind of missing some things that I do care about. But I track a lot of basic stuff: protagonist and author gender, age group, genre, page number, country of origin, things like that, just to keep track of the basics so that at the end of the year I get kind of an overview of what I read. Question 3 is, do you give star ratings to books? And if so, what do you score books out of, and how do you come about that score? I do rate books. I rate books out of 5. I use the typical Goodreads scale that I think a lot of people on here use, and I rate entirely based on gut instinct, how this book made me feel. When I close a book, that's when I decide my rating. Did I absolutely love that? Is that a new favorite? Was it okay? Was it great? That's how I decide my rating. There's no deep analysis of that. It's just how I felt. Question 4, do you review books? And of course I do. That's most of what I do on this channel. I post reviews for not every single book that I read, but the majority of books I post some sort of review for. I also write reviews on Goodreads for literally every single book that I read. If I finish a book, I have a review for it, that if I've read it in the past, several years. My YouTube reviews are usually much more in-depth, and I prefer those. That's my preferred format, but I do also like doing the Goodreads reviews. Question 5, where do you put your finished books? And back on my shelf. Or I take them to the library. It depends. I don't have specific shelves for TBR books or read books. They're all just mixed in together because I do know when looking at a book if I've read it or not. I don't generally forget that I've read a book or think I've read a book when I haven't. It does happen rarely, but very, very rarely. Question 6, how do you pick your next book? I honestly just go with whatever I feel like reading in the moment. Sometimes I do have something that I have to read for a read-along or a book club or something, but in general, it's just I grab whatever I feel like. If I feel like some nonfiction, I grab some nonfiction. If I want something scary, I grab a thriller. It's just sort of based on my mood. I'm very much a mood reader. Question 7, do you have any other rituals for when you have finished a book? Not really. I record it in this nice little journal, I post my review on Goodreads, and I record all the stats in my two spreadsheets, but that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else fancy I do. I don't celebrate. I usually just pick up another book because when I finish the book, usually I'm in a mood to just keep reading. I do sometimes organize my notes after I finish a book because I do take notes as I read, and sometimes I only have a few notes and they're kind of just in order and they're fine, but sometimes I have very long notes or they're very jumbled. Sometimes I'll have more than a page of notes, so I have to go through them and put them in order so that I can kind of talk about them more clearly in my review, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. But that's also what I use Goodreads reviews for. Those kind of help me organize my thoughts and figure out what are important points and what are just kind of random things I thought while reading that I wrote down but maybe don't need to touch on in a review. Question 8 is, who do you tag? And I'm going to tag The Lost Reader, Bookish Elle, and Time for Books. So I will link all their channels down below. You should definitely check them out. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all again soon.